President Trump lost his first round to oust someone from the Fed. We were reporting on that, and he's still on defense over it today before the Supreme Court. And that has some asking, why appeal this apparent long shot to control the Fed? Professor Murray just telling us it's likely to lose. Well, the goal turns on power, elections. Trump wants to juice the economy with these artificial interest rates, which could boost stock prices in the short term, but create larger problems in the long run, which is why politicians aren't allowed to control the Fed. Indeed, the soaring inflation that upended our lives in 2024 is a big risk if you let a politician just juice the dial going into a given election. And remember, just about everyone knows this dynamic and the huge economic impact on elections.
It's the economy, stupid.
America's wonderful, ain't it, Mr. Bush? Maybe you'll be unemployed.
We project that Bill Clinton is going to be the next president of the United States.
Obama blames Washington for the country's economic woes and is trying to link John McCain to President Bush's policies.
I had the honor of calling Senator Barack Obama to congratulate him.
The greatest economic year in the history of our country. You had three of them with me, and then we got hit with the plague.
Joe Biden is on track to be the next president.
Trump remembers losing that COVID crash. The trend goes back further. Here are just some key highlight numbers from our special report. The president's party loses badly when the market crashes. Republicans actually gained a whopping 67 seats in the midterms after a post-war downturn. Democrats surged by over 60 seats in the recession of 58 and won 49 seats in 74 amid inflation that was so bad they called it stagflation, when high prices are worsened by job losses and negative growth. And that's just midterms, which is what Trump is bracing for in 10 months. Economic backlashes are even worse in presidential years. A lot more people vote. And here you've got some examples. Reagan won and the GOP gained 46 seats off that economic malaise I mentioned after a campaign where Reagan rattled off inflation data and his knowledge of the Federal Reserve. The numbers are clear, and that's why Donald Trump might want to break everything to take control of the economy. We're joined by Justin Wolfers, public policy and economics professor at U of M. Welcome back.
Good to see you, Ari.
Most people don't spend all day thinking about interest rates, and like any economic analysis, there are many factors. But this is an iron law of politics, and yet no other president has been lawless enough, brazen enough, or been surrounded by so many yes people who didn't stop an effort to hijack the Fed. Walk us through how that works going into elections.
Well, actually, an historical note, Nixon tried this. And so what you do is you call your guy at the Fed and you say, are you a good party man? Do you want to do me a political favor rather than serve the best interests of the American people?
He tried to work it, but he didn't try to investigate members of the Fed, although he did his other investigations. But yes, go ahead.
When you're talking about Nixon, you're hardly talking about highlights of American economic policy now, are you? So I think we agree. You get your guy to turn the dial and turn the juice on. Now, the thing is, what that'll do is it'll cause a little bit of a sugar high. The unemployment rate will fall. The economy will start to boom. People feel good about things. That's often enough to get an incumbent reelected. Here's the thing. The day after, there's a hangover. It takes a while for that sort of boom to create inflation. That's the whole calculation. You overheat the economy and you hope you get the benefit today and you hope the costs come the day after the election. And we've seen this happen in many other European countries. Yeah. That's one of the reasons why we try and insulate the Fed. We try and keep it apart because we understand politicians aren't to be trusted with this tool.
Yeah, and how much does economics track the reality of that? Because, you know, in America, we don't have the politicians who are running for office also in control of counting the ballots, because that would be bananas. So states have secretaries of state. The federal elections are done in a decentralized process. And everyone was reminded of that when you say, oh, Trump has the nuclear codes. He's the most powerful person in the American government. Why couldn't he take control of the 2020 laws? He tried as an incumbent. It didn't work. And that's decentralization. In the markets for over 100 years, it's been the federal independence. How do the markets view these efforts? And does it get negative if they think that whole era could end?
Right. So what we've talked about so far is the usual story. The usual story is you don't want to let too much temptation sit in the way of a politician. They'll just jump for it like a toddler looking for a toy. But with this politician, we have a different problem, a deeper problem. Sometimes you get a politician who comes along who is blessed with enormous faith in themselves, who eschews expert opinion, who comes up with their own tin pot theories and decides that what they want to do is implement those despite the best advice of those around them. Let me give you an example. In Turkey, Erdogan believes deeply in the value of low interest rates. No one knows why. It doesn't make any sense. He thinks that low interest rates cure inflation. He kept trying that cure until he got inflation up to 80%. Why do I talk about Erdogan? Turns out I know another populist strongman who believes deeply in himself and seems to have a deep and abiding attachment and believe that low interest rates cure all ills. So I look at that Turkey playbook with real concern.
Concern for what it would do. Why do you talk about Erdogan? I'm sure your family asks you that all the time.
They do that it's because I'm a Foucault realist.
Look at you. Kavanaugh, Trump appointee, said it in plain English. I'm going to play this quickly, where if we let him do it, everyone's going to do it, and we're all going to pay for it. Take a look.
If this were set as a precedent, it seems to me, just thinking big picture, what goes around comes around. All the current president's appointees would likely be removed for cause on January 20th, 2029, if there's a Democratic president, or January 20th, 2033. And then we're really at will removal. So what are we doing here?
That's the closest you'll get Kavanaugh to sound like in Zoolander when Mugatu says, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. Is what are we doing here? Politicians come and go. This is going to hurt everyone. In the short time you have left, is that how Wall Street views it, or do some people like Trump's idea?
Look, it's not a question of Wall Street liking it. Wall Street hates it. Wall Street would rather have stability and rather have people who are willing to serve the best interests of the economy. The question here is one of, on the one side, you might like democratic accountability, that the president should always get to pick his or her guys. On the other side, do we really want every aspect of our lives to be governed by partisanship? I like the fact that with a lot of economic policy, we try to put it above that partisan fray, and I think it's tended to yield better outcomes for us.
Yeah, got it. Justin Wolfers, thank you.